It is Tuesday, and you know what? Tuesday we talk about legal matters. We educate each other. We get to know things that we never knew about. And in studio, I do have an advocate of the High Court, Lucy Mulago. Lucy, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What about you?
Niko salama. Karibu sana.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome.
All right. So I want us to look at. Let's begin with what happened with Betty Bio. All right. So a breakdown is she passed on in November. That is 10th, 2025. And there were stories between negligence. There's an amount that was supposed to be paid. And so that led to a delay in a delay in the treatment that was accorded to her, right?
Yes.
So Betty Bio passed away on November 10th, 2025. Her cause of death was acute myeloid leukemia. Before being transferred to Kenyatta National Hospital for specialized care, she had been admitted to AAR Hospital, that is on Kiambu Road. Let's look at allegations / social media claims. There were circulations on social media. These reports claimed that AAR Hospital denied her admission or treatment because she couldn't immediately pay a 260,000 deposit. Some said there was a delay in her admission because of the deposit issue. Others claimed that her bill at AAR was rapidly increased as she was being transferred. This is now according to some reports, right? And AAR Hospital, of course, responded. They took a bit of time to respond, but they did. They issued a public statement denying many of the social media claims, calling them inaccurate and misleading. According to AAR, she was indeed admitted for 2 days, during which she received emergency and critical care. They say after stabilization, the family opted to transfer her to another facility, that is KNH, for further specialized treatment. And also there were issues on confidentiality. AAR said that they can't share full medical details, citing patient confidentiality and medical ethics. So, of course, there are a lot of criticism online, and people are talking about payment policies in hospitals. If you were to go to a hospital right now, you have a patient, and in this case, this patient needs admission. The first thing you asked, are you paying through cash or card, right?
Yes.
And if you're paying through cash, and this patient needs to be admitted, you need to pay that money there and then.
Yes, upfront.
Is it legal?
I'd say no.
Mm-hmm.
It's not legal. It's quite a tight shop to walk.
Yeah.
But we are a country that is governed by laws. And the Constitution talks about the right to health at Article 43, and it goes ahead expressly to say every Kenyan has a right to emergency medical treatment.
Yeah.
And we've enacted very many laws to support this right to health.
Yeah.
Like there is a policy, there is a health policy 2014 to 2030.
Yeah.
And there is a Kenya emergency and medical care policy, which talks critically about this issue of emergency treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And even before we look at all this, there is what we call SHA. And SHA is saying every Kenyan has the right to emergency medical treatment for the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
So I'd say a hospital asking for any amount when it is critical or it's an emergency, it becomes quite illegal.
Yeah.
Quite illegal. But I also understand the hospitals, the private hospitals are quite into, I'd say they're into business.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a business decision. They're saying, why should we stabilize this patient?
Yes.
When there is no money paid? How are we going to recoup what we've put in?
Yeah.
So the problem is hospitals being businesses and not fully aimed at saving lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Are private hospitals, and you see, we're seeing, because this happens a lot in private hospitals, are they legally allowed to demand deposits before stabilizing a critically ill patient? You've touched on that. You've also talked about emergency. Can we look at under medical ethics and public health obligations, what counts as an emergency care?
That again comes across as a very tricky question, because emergency care or critical care is when it's life and death.
Yes.
This patient comes in and a decision has to be made fast. If I walked to a hospital with just a cold, that is not emergency. But there are different categories, like road accident. Someone has been knocked or involved in an accident.
Yeah.
Or even, I was shocked to read the statistics, the issue of assault. Assault comes as one of the leading causes, or patients present themselves as victims of assault in very high numbers in this country.
Yeah.
And then there's sexual offenses, where people are coming to hospital, children who have been defiled, women who have been raped, boys who have been sodomized. That becomes emergency because a decision has to be made and they have to be attended to without any delay. Yes.
Okay, they have to be attended to without any delay. Where does the law protect a patient from denial of emergency treatment?
The law stipulates that it is a must for somebody to receive that emergency treatment. As per the Constitution, I like the way it is expressed in the Constitution. But now the challenge comes, I'd say private hospitals are a creation of government, because the reason why you'll run to a private hospital is because the public hospital systems do not work. So the fact that there are no medicines in government hospitals, maybe there are no doctors, or doctors have not been paid, they're on strike. So what happens in private hospitals about them asking for a huge deposit? I'd say it is a creation of the government. It is a creation of poor systems. It is a creation of corruption. Because if SHA worked, we've seen in the media every day patients with chronic illnesses, things like cancer, patients who need emergency care, even deep in the villages, but they're told SHA haifanyi. Because SHA haifanyi, we are not going to do anything. SHA haifanyi, unless, as you're saying, unless you make that hefty deposit. Yes.
And you see, when you say it's not legal, but it's happening.
It is happening. Yes, that we must accept. It is happening.
Yeah. So meaning, even in being defiant, the hospitals know that there's nothing that will be done. At the end of the day, when you show up here and you want to admit a patient, as we're thinking about the money first.
Yes, even before thinking about admission. Admission comes after the patient has been attended to.
Yes.
That emergency care, like a patient presents themselves to hospital with broken limbs or been involved in a fire. That first treatment, maybe even the first aid, the hospital will ask for money. So yes, I'd say it is illegal, but it is happening. And again, I reiterate, it is a creation of corruption. It is a creation of government. It is a creation of systems not working. Yes.
What rights do patients have when seeking medical treatment in private in private or even or public hospitals?
The rights, as per the Bill of Rights, the rights are quite many. First, what we've said is the right to emergency treatment, and also the quality of the health care they're receiving. They have the right to health care, good health care. Then there is a right to dignity. This is a patient. This is a human being. The way the patient is being handled must be in a way that their dignity is preserved. Other than that, there is a very critical right, the right to information. You have to be informed. What are you being treated for? What is when this treatment? You have the right to ask, what is this I'm being injected? Right to information. And then the right to life, Article 26. Of course, the doctors or the medical practitioners have taken an oath to preserve life. Always. So you have the right to life. Yes.
And in this case, with what happened at AR Hospital, I know they've denied the allegations. In this instance, was a patient's right, if it were true, that they asked for the 260,000 deposit, and they denied the patient access to treatment, right? To medical care. Can the patient's family sue? Because now life has been lost.
There is a framework for, Yes, there is a framework for going to court or seeking reprieve whenever you feel that there was negligence. Yes, the family can go to court if they believe that the hospital was negligent in how they handled their kin. Yes.
Okay. And then also, when we're talking about negligence, there was a story around a patient who had forceps
somewhere in the chest cavity.
During an operation, right?
Yes.
And because you're bringing up the matter of negligence, we have these instances where something happens and it's not the patient's fault, right?
Yes.
What should I do as a patient? Because we just walk away. We just walk away. I'll talk about my example, but it sounds minute. But during surgery, I was having surgery, and then so when I woke up, I found out that it's not a laughing matter, by the way.
Sorry.
I want to laugh about it, but it's not a laughing matter. So,
sorry.
When I woke up, if you look at my teeth up at the front one, so this side, part of it is broken, right? So I woke up and I'm like, wait, what happened to this other side? It's broken, right? And I know there was an apology. Oh, we're sorry this happened when we were trying to resuscitate. So in such a case, mine...
It's not minute.
It's not minute. It's visible, right?
It is, because your teeth actually give you a smile.
Yes, it cracked.
Yes, so it dented your smile.
It did.
Sorry. That is negligence.
It is, right?
It is negligence.
For an instance where a patient goes through that, what do they do?
I'd say I will not attempt speaking like a doctor or a medical practitioner.
Yes.
But the moment a patient goes to hospital, it is a relationship of trust, what we call a fiduciary relationship. You're going on that bed knowing or trusting that the doctors will save your life or do that surgery.
Yes.
And you come back with all your teeth.
Yeah.
That is one we have to accept that. Then the doctor or the medics are being held to a very high standard, because they even took an oath.
Yes.
They took an oath saying they're going to preserve lives, they're going to promote your health and all that, what their oath says. So in doing that, they have to ensure the highest standard of care is accorded to you. Mm-hmm. If you come back with your tooth broken or with the forceps. Yes, the forceps left in your body.
Yes.
That is negligence.
Yeah.
That is negligence, because they are trained, they are supposed to ensure that you get the best. Because you see what that young man was awarded, it was quite a hefty figure.
Yes.
But again, I was listening to some discussion around it. Even if you're given 10 million, does it compensate what he suffered? His quality of life? The period he had those forceps in his body, because we are not being told how his day-to-day life was affected. At least for you, we can see the smile with the cracked.
Yes, we can see the smile with the crack.
Yeah.
You know what? It is what it is. We'll fix it later on. If a delay leads to deterioration, is that ground for a lawsuit? If a delay leads to deterioration,
it is ground for a lawsuit, but it is an area, I'd say, because of corruption, we tend to have normalized a lot of things. Because if you walk to a public hospital, there are like 4 scenarios. You might be admitted, but there is no medicine. You might be admitted, attended to, but the nurse or the doctors are attending to so many other people. So there is that time lapse. And this is a critical patient. And all that is because systems are not working. Government is not ensuring that healthcare is given the importance it deserves. And I'd say whenever we have a new government in place, one of the dockets that are highly contested is this docket called health. Not because they want to give us the best healthcare, but because health is a cash cow in this country. Health is a cash cow. You remember during COVID, there are things like KEMSA. There are people who these are things that are in the public domain. There are people the COVID billionaires. Why? Because health has been made to be a cash cow to a few individuals or a few people, top people in government and their affiliates. So I'd say all these things are illegal. But what happens in private hospitals is a creation of the failures of government in public hospitals. Because had policies been, we have a policy on emergency care. If this policy is implemented, because even SHA itself says within 24 hours, you are supposed to receive that emergency treatment from evacuation. If you fell on the stairs in this building and it is critical, from being lifted to the next hospital or carried to the next hospital, you're being treated. All that is supposed to be catered for by SHA. But is SHA working? That becomes a whole debate.
It's a whole conversation.
Yes, because even SHA is supposed to be universal. It is what all of us as Kenyans are supposed to have as the bare minimum.
Yeah.
Other countries have implemented this, but the reason why there is push and pull is because the normal Wanjiku on the street has no confidence in the government, because they say, why should I be contributing 500 shillings when there is no medicine in the hospital? When if I have a chronic illness, payment will not be made. Or if you go to hospital, I've experienced this with a sick child. I was told, pay for the whole year. What? We had insurance, but we were told before admission, pay SHA for the whole year.
What do you mean pay for the whole year?
That is what happens. Right now, if you go to hospital, you can do statistics in this town. If you go to hospital and you have to get your patient admitted, they tell you, do you have SHA? Yes. Have you paid for the whole year? No. Pay first.
So you pay for the whole year before you get admitted?
Yes.
What if you have a private cover?
Most of the private covers want, I understand where they're coming from a business perspective. They want at least the bed charges to be covered by SHA.
Okay, so even if you have the private cover, still you have to pay for SHA.
Especially if you're self-employed, yes. You see, if your employer is contributing, it's a different story. But if you look at the statistics, most Kenyans are now in the, I'd say, private sector loosely. People are not formally employed. And you've taken the pain to take a medical cover for your family. But you'll still be told for your patient to be admitted, pay SHA. I think it's 7,600 first. Yet you've paid for the medical cover before you get admission.
So now even private hospitals are saying no?
Yes.
That's heavy because, you know, with NHIF, we were paying monthly.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I still have my card. My NHIF card, yes. It worked quite okay until, I'd say, the enemy is just corruption. Until people are awarded tenders in these areas and now systems suddenly don't work.
So for them, Lucy, for them to admit your child, you had to pay SHA for the whole year?
Yes.
For them to admit your child?
Yes, and I had medical insurance at a private facility in this town. I will not mention them.
Is that okay?
It's not
like,
okay.
Is that a demand they can make?
It's not okay, but you see the challenge, the challenge with issues to do with medical care, this is at your lowest. You see, when you have a patient, you're very desperate. The patient needs some sort of stabilization. You know you can't go back with your patient home. So they're coming to you at your lowest point. You will oblige.
What happens to that Kenyan who cannot afford to pay for the whole year?
We've seen them in the media every day, especially patients with chronic illnesses. There was a time they went up to the Ministry of Health just to protest what is going on in the big referral hospitals. They're left there desperate. They're left on the queues. If you go to public hospitals, they're left on the queues. Think of, because you see sometimes even delivery of a child is an emergency. It is. And delivery in itself is an emergency, but again, it can present itself in a more critical way. The mother is bleeding. They're saying the child is losing their heartbeat or something. A quick decision has to be made, but you'll be told, umelipa SHA. Or sometimes umelipa SHA, but when you get to hospital, unaambiwa, SHA haifanyi. It's not working, so move to the next. And sometimes those 20 minutes you spend or 1 hour from hospital A to B, that is how life is lost. Quite unfortunate.
So we are prioritizing money?
Yes. Because I see hospitals saying they are not profit organizations. But hospitals are profit organizations. They are selling to us medicine. They are selling to us this service. So it's not right for them to say we are not a profit organization. They are. That's why I started by saying it's a tightrope. Because let me put myself in the shoes of the hospital owner. I have employees I have to pay. I have bills like electricity, water I have to pay. How am I going to pay it?
Yeah.
The patients have to cater. Government is not giving me anything. The patients have to cater for everything to work. Yeah. But all these, you see how I was shocked to learn that there are even classes of medicine.
Yeah.
The Panadol you receive at hospital A, a top tier hospital, is not the Panadol you receive at a dispensary.
There's generic.
There's medicine for the poor. There's medicine for the poor. And you see, we have a whole government entity called KEMSA that looks at this issue of medicines and all that. Everything that comes in government in Kenya is a country where government has very long hands. There's nothing you will do even in healthcare without the government authorizing you.
Yeah.
So why is the government allowing that the equipment that are so good
Yes.
going to private hospitals?
Yeah.
Then there are those substandard. Have you been to a public hospital, that delivery bed where women deliver?
Yes.
Try and imagine.
Yes.
Or at the dispensary back at home in the village.
Yes.
Compare that with the big hospital.
It's different.
It's different. Look at, even we are talking about the right to emergency health care. How many hospitals have ambulances? If you are to be moved, you have to be referred, like the case you're talking about. A patient is bleeding or in a very critical situation, and you have to be moved to a bigger hospital to be referred. Do you even have enough ambulances?
And, you know, you've taken me back. You've taken me, you've taken me back to an emergency. And I know we'll look at the policy on emergency care. You've taken me way back to a point where I had an emergency. Still the surgery, by the way. Still the surgery, right? And we left the hospital and we went all the way back home, that is in Siaya County. And then right in the middle of the night, I felt like something was off, you know? My heartbeat, I felt like something was completely off. So I called the doctor and I said, this is happening. And so there was an urgent need to take me back to the hospital. And this hospital is in Kisumu. I mean...
the distance.
Yes. I mean, I'm at home. I'm in Bumala, right? So the distance. Now, the funny thing is, the ambulance, we needed to get an ambulance. But for us to get an ambulance, this was the funny thing. It's an emergency. And the moment I told him what was happening, he just said, you need to leave now. So we needed to get an ambulance. But it was, you have to pay 15,000 for the ambulance to get there. You have to pay 15,000 now.
Yes.
For the ambulance to come and get you, to take you to the hospital. And the hospital, that's in Kisumu. So between getting this money and going back, so I can imagine if I didn't have that, and it wasn't easy, by the way. So it's really messed up.
Quite a huge amount, yes.
It's really messed up.
It is.
That even that emergency, that access, it's not there.
It's not there because of the animal called corruption. Every year, government is allocating billions to healthcare. Yet that is a sector we see the biggest hastes, the biggest forms of corruption. Like saying, there is medicine for the poor and there is good medicine for somebody who can afford. Why should we classify medicine? Why?
Why is it for somebody who can afford? And you see, when you go, at times when you go to the chemist, they ask you, do you want generic or you want the original?
Yes, the difference is the price. The difference is the price. Then you see, for that Kenyan who can't afford the good medicine, you'll keep treating this disease. It doesn't go away because you're using substandard medicine, or what they say, medicine for the poor. It's like it's I'd say it is a crime to be born poor, because you'll get substandard health care, from emergency treatment to even subsequently the kind of treatment you get. Why? Because the government has failed to tackle the big monster called corruption. Yes. So
even with the payments that we're making, it's sad that we're even having this conversation right now. Even with the payments that we're making, because I know a lot of Kenyans are contributing to SHA, and I always say, Nasita Fadhali, it's being deducted from your your payslip.
Yes.
Yeah. Even with this, still you cannot access quality.
Yes. My biggest, I ask my medic friends, if you went to a hospital A, which is a public hospital, sometimes the way the medical practitioners handle you.
Yeah.
is quite different, not quite, very different from how you'll be handled at a private facility.
Yeah.
Because at a private facility, you've paid a premium. You've
Yeah.
paid to be treated that
Yes.
way. But you know, sometimes these doctors, these nurses, they're the same people.
Who also go to
Yes,
the public hospitals.
They have something, I think it's called locum.
Yes.
They rotate in these hospitals.
Yeah.
But you see, the reason why this doctor is very tired, demotivated in a public hospital is because of what they're dealing with. Sometimes even basic equipment are a challenge in that hospital. The numbers they have to deal with.
Yeah.
But in private facilities, they've been told you can't even raise a voice at the patient. They call the patient is a client. The client is always right. Yes, you have to take your time, you have to smile, you see.
Yes.
You're being treated like a client.
Yes.
But in a public facility where medicine is a problem, beds are shared.
Yes.
I won't mention the hospital, but there is a hospital, the public hospital in this county. Walk there at night and see the despair. People are sleeping on corridors. People are waiting admission. Why? When we are paying, when there is a lot of money being allocated to healthcare, it's because this money is going to a few individuals' pockets.
Yeah.
Yes. So I'd say it's not like we don't have laws. Kenya is heavily regulated, but implementation is a problem.
It's sad, by the way.
It's extremely sad because you look at the lives that are lost because of all this. These are people who didn't deserve to die. Yeah.
And you know, we're talking about SHA right now, and I like that we are also giving examples, because I was at the hospital, I think 3 months ago, and I was like, for this particular, for this service, can I use SHA, because I know I'm paying for it? And they said it does not cover this. So what then does it cover, right? And you see, as a citizen, even if we were to say, Lucy, you are an advocate.
Yes.
At what point, how do we get to a point where, when citizens are complaining about certain things, how do the courts come in? How do the courts come in, or is it the judiciary? How does the judiciary come in?
The judiciary is supposed to interpret laws, is supposed to ensure, like, if there is a complaint and a suit is filed, the courts will make a determination.
Yeah.
But I look at it as that being at the tail end. You see, like the issue of the young man, forceps being left in his body.
Yeah.
If we have to reach there, that is a life, the quality of life of this man had already been so much interfered with. Before we look at going to courts and going for reprieve, why don't we improve the quality of healthcare in this country? Because even going to court for medical negligence, I've always said, it's like setting a thief to catch a thief to me, because you're still going to rely on another doctor to give a report on a doctor. Cases of medical negligence are there. Yeah. People go to court, they are compensated, but it is not an easy claim to do. It is the kind of claim when a client walks to me with a medical negligence issue, I know here I'm going to...
You have to get another doctor, yeah?
Yes, I'm in for a sweat.
Yes.
It's not easy. But we are saying, before these issues of negligence happen, why don't we improve services? Why can't government be serious with healthcare once and for all? Because you see, even if you're left, back then when we were young, it was common. I used to hear that women, when delivering, waliwachwa na cotton wool kwa tumbo. That was very common. Right now, many of these things have improved, because even in healthcare, there is a lot of technology coming in. But this technology, where is it happening?
Yeah.
It is in private facilities. The best equipment are in private facilities.
There's somebody benefiting from all this.
Yes, because like I had a case also with a child. If you have to do MRI in Mombasa, how many hospitals have the MRI machine?
How many?
Maybe not even 5.
No.
And if the public hospitals have it, you will hear so many excuses about its usage. You see the way government works. You are on the queue, then kabla ufikiwe unaambiwa stima imepotea kidogo.
Yes.
Ama ameenda lunch. That causes you, and for you to do the MRI, it means it's very critical. You won't be sent for an MRI for something minor.
Yeah.
Out of that desperation, you'll go to a private facility
To pay.
who is benefiting. That's why I'm saying hospitals should not say that they are not for-profit organizations. They are for-profit. So the broken system is actually just to benefit a few.
You've said something so profound that the state of the public hospitals is the making of the government.
Yes.
And if you look at, one would expect that public hospitals should be better, because a lot of people use the public hospitals, right?
Yes.
And you cannot say that there's no money.
There is a lot of money.
There is a lot of money.
But wastage and just stealing, I'd say it's theft.
And when you talk about implementation as well, that we have laws, but they're not being implemented.
Yes.
How then do we ensure that these laws that have been put in place are fully implemented? And it's sad that we're talking about our healthcare system right now. And it's true. I always say, woe unto you if you're sick.
Yeah, actually, I've had this phrase that you're one sickness. As a family, you're one sickness away from poverty.
Yeah.
Because if somebody in the family gets something like cancer, every day, we adults, every day we are being added to groups. Your friend's mom has cancer, has this, we need 2 million, we need 3 million to go to India. We've seen what is in India. What is in India is not like they have state-of-the-art hospitals.
Yes.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. Look at even the hospital where the former prime minister died.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not like those hospitals are mega, no. But the quality of health care is what matters. So the fact that we are allowing the system to be broken is the biggest problem. The first thing is voting in the right people. Right is quite relative, because what is right to you is not right to me. But it starts at the ballot. At least people who are serious, because understand that health is devolved. Health is a devolved function. And I'm happy there are some counties that have been serious since devolution started. There are counties like Kakamega. Kakamega has had a good record in healthcare. Maybe because the governor or the government of that county back then was serious. So the fact that health is a devolved function of government, why can't counties be serious about healthcare?
I like that you brought that up, because there's a conversation around whether there was even need to devolve health. And there was conversation around people saying the counties are not really ready to manage the healthcare system, right?
Yes.
And if we look at our counties, you come down to the counties. We did some research. I was in a certain county, and we toured this hospital, and what I saw equipments that were covered.
Not working.
No. I saw equipments that were covered, right?
Yes.
We walked in. We were doing some sort of documentary. We walked in. It was an empty hospital, right? But the machines were there, but they're covered. And so I kept on wondering what's going on.
And you see, that machine has been bought for a premium, and it has been bought using taxpayers' money.
Are the priorities misplaced? Are the counties missing something when it comes to the healthcare?
I'd say it's just implementation.
Yeah.
I'm of the school of thought that it was a good idea to devolve health. But my friend always says we devolved functions. Devolution meant devolution of corruption. Corruption just came, instead of watu wachache kula Nairobi, it came closer to the villages.
It to our villages.
Yes, we brought corruption closer to the villages. We've seen medical officials, is it KMPDU, having a fight with these governors day in, day out. They're not paying medical interns. They're not paying doctors. Why? They're ensuring that doctors, the working conditions for doctors in public hospitals are quite deplorable. Even the contract. Why should a doctor keep renewing the contract? Back then, they were being employed permanent. So even the working conditions, it shows even at the counties, the priorities are upside down. They're the same people. These are the same people. If they fall sick, say in Mombasa, maybe they will be treated in Nairobi. Why? They will be airlifted to Nairobi.
Yeah.
Their families will be airlifted. But think about your listener who is in Likoni or Bamburi or Kongowea.
Yes.
They'll go to hospital, they'll be given that generic medicine you said. Yes. And then now, you see, they say we have to take care of the most vulnerable in society. Children. There are children who are born with congenital issues. There are children who are battling serious issues. I was shocked the other day. There is a whole cancer ward, children at Coast General. There are now children suffering from cancer, below 10, below 5. So if systems don't work, how is this child supposed to grow up?
Yeah.
So it's quite unfortunate. I'd say corruption is the enemy.
When we went on a break, Lucy, we're just talking about my incident. First of all, I know I said resuscitating. No, it's not resuscitation. What happened? How I ended up having a problem with the tooth was it's called intubation. I remember the anesthetist telling me what happened, but they had to intubate me to wake me up because I'd nilikata kuamka. It's like, where am I going to right now? But anyway, well, thank God for life. Now, Lucy, what can Parliament do as they're looking at all this? We say we have policies. What more can Parliament do? And we're looking at the health sector. Can Parliament do something? We're talking about different arms of the government, right?
Yes.
I've said what role does judiciary have in all this? And now, what can Parliament do in all this?
I'd say Parliament should push for implementation.
Yes.
Because the laws exist, the policies exist, but the problem is implementation.
Yes.
And if they wanted, they would. But the biggest challenge is people go into these positions, politicians, if we did a research on who owns these private hospitals, you'll find that sometimes politicians have stake in these hospitals.
Yeah.
Like I said, so the broken system in the public health care benefits them. So what should Parliament do is actually push for implementation, because they have the capacity to even shut down institutions. Like the example you're telling me, why should a public hospital have so many equipment that are not in use when taxpayers' money was used to purchase this equipment? Have people who are culpable, have these people charged in court. Because it starts from the process of procurement. Then there are people who have been employed to ensure that these equipment are working. Why are the equipment not working? Because we know the big equipment or anything, even a phone, if it doesn't work for some time, that is how inakufa. That is how a machine dies. So them staying somewhere in a corner, being covered, when money was spent, surely somebody must be held into account. That is what Parliament should push for. It has a committee on health. Every day they are looking into these issues. So let them ensure implementation of quality healthcare in this country.
And you also mentioned health policy. Can we talk about that?
Yes, the health policy, you see, when you look at the hierarchy of laws, there is a constitution, and I'm happy that the constitution expressly recognizes that I, as a Kenyan, have the right to emergency medical care. Then there are many other acts of Parliament that talk, like the County Government Act, that talk about the division of roles between the national government and the county government. There is the Health Act. But acts alone sometimes don't do enough. That's why policies are put in place. And this health policy and this the Kenya Emergency Medical Care are talking about what should happen in this country as regards to health and as regards to emergency health care. And one of the things they're saying is that the universal medical insurance, which is SHA, formerly NHIF, should ensure that it caters for emergency health care. That is also it. When you look at these policies, they borrow heavily from standards of the WHO, the World Health Organization. But I repeat, the problem is implementation. These things, money is spent, millions are spent to launch a policy. Stakeholders are invited. A big party, a big dinner, the unveiling, the ribbons, the balloons. But after that, do these things just remain as pieces of paper? Why are they not being implemented? Why are people not being held into account?
Yeah.
Yes.
So heavy. What do you think? You talked about voting the right leaders. When it comes to changing, and honestly, I believe things can change.
Things can change.
Yes, I tend to be optimistic, right? So I believe things can change. When it comes to the healthcare system and with what's happening, what do you think now the citizen can do?
You reminded me of something. I'm not quite on TikTok, but I saw something like TikTok Hospital. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Trending.
Uh-huh.
Because of technology. Technology is good for us as a country.
Yeah.
Leaders are being held to a higher standard because of the mobilization that can be done online. So I believe there can be change, and we can vote in the right people. Right from what they have done. You see, if somebody is seeking re-election, if any governor in this country, because health is a devolved function, if any governor is seeking re-election in this country, I want to ask them, what have you done to that hospital in your county?
Yes.
What have you ensured is working? Because I'm quite perturbed. I see governors going in with cameras, with you guys, media people.
Us, media people.
They have hired PR
Call
people.
us out.
They have hired PR people.
Yes.
They're showing a very good section of the hospital.
Yes.
Very clean.
Yeah.
Is that the true picture? When the cameras are out, is that the true picture? So if anybody is seeking re-election, what have you done to the health sector in your county as a governor? When it comes to Senate, that is the house that deals with oversight. What are they doing? What is the Senate doing when it comes to oversight of what the counties are doing in regards to healthcare? Because health, like I said, we are all one sickness away from poverty. You've seen families lose everything. Your kin dies, you sold that piece of land, you sold all the cows, all the animals. Why should we be living like this? And the thing is, we are all paying taxes. Where are our taxes going to?
Yes. Thank you so much, Lucy, for making time today. A lot to unpack today, and I think my take home is the state of the public hospitals is a making of.
No, the other way around.
The state of the private hospitals.
Yes.
Is a making of
government.
Yes.
Of the failures of government.
Yes, it's a making of the government. So yes, we do need change. Thank you for making time today. We've been talking about the health sector and the mess in the health sector. We see it, but also change begins with us. So remember, 2027 Ikwapa, and as we are heading towards 2027, chukua kura, by the way. Your vote is your power. Good morning.
Everybody back. Swahili Pot FM 91.7.